Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
This is Questions, Coffee, and Cars 197. How do you get a question in?
Follow along on Instagram at Motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday, I put a post out on Instagram asking for questions. Once we gather them, the post is deleted and we start the show.
Time now for Questions, Coffee, and Cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
Love your content. Thank you. 321 RAV4 Prime versus Sportage or Sportage in Canada plug-in hybrids.
Oh, difference in price.
Big difference in price, but also in range.
Okay, let's do a 3-2-1. It's your money.
It's your money.
And
Gosh,
you got the money for it. 3-2-1.
RAV4. I like the range better on the RAV4, and now the new RAV4 has a lot more range, 80 kilometers, but even
That's 50 miles, 50 miles.
50 miles, but even the old one had 64 kilometers, 42 miles, whereas the Kia Sportage or Sportage has 50 kilometers,
Which is
which is 31 miles.
Yeah, 30 miles. One is a lot more expensive.
That's true.
The RAV4 is a lot more expensive, and it also has more power. So, yeah, listen, if you can afford the RAV4 and you can get one, go for it.
That's the question. Can you get one?
Well, maybe now that there's a new one coming, there might be more available. Who knows?
Maybe.
That one is made in Japan.
Yeah.
The regular RAV4s are made in the USA and Canada.
Anything new with the Jeep Wrangler? I had one when I was younger and I'm considering one again, but people tell me they're unreliable and lose value quickly. That is not true.
Can I do the second one first?
Yes.
The Wrangler historically has been one of the vehicles with the highest resale value of all vehicles, period, full stop. So that is nonsense. The reliability is true.
Hit and miss with reliability. The only thing that I've heard of for 2026 is that the plug-in hybrid is going to get a new 8-speed automatic transmission. But that's not really confirmed, I don't think, from Jeep. So, but it's out there.
If you're going to get a Jeep and you get the one that's been in the market the longest, which is the V6 Pentastar, that engine, that drivetrain, so that engine is actually a very reliable engine. The Pentastar has proven to be very reliable. So the 3.6 liter Pentastar, target that one. You want to stay away from the Turbo 4. Did they even make the Eco Diesel anymore? I'm not sure. And then the hybrid has been problematic. So it's a good old V6.
And yeah, and the Wrangler, I get the appeal of it. It's pretty cool. There's a lot on the road here in Vancouver, whether they have the 2-door or the 4-door. The only thing that I don't love about the Wrangler is that when you're driving it on the highway, it tends to wander a little bit. So it doesn't offer the best driving pleasure, let's say, but it's definitely cool.
Okay, so if you're just using it as an everyday car, do not buy like a Rubicon, as Andrea mentioned, with the big 33-inch all-terrain tires, and they wander down the road. As soon as you get it off-road, it's like, oh, now I understand why it's being made.
Yeah.
But if you get, so that's like a knobby all-terrain tire on the Rubicon with the lockers and all that. And if you're just driving it every day, you don't need all of that. If you just get, I'm trying to remember what trim it is. You get the all-season tires. So really decide what kind of driver you are. If you're just driving it every day, you don't want the big knobby tires. You just want the all-season tires, and that's going to give you the tires make a big difference on that whole wandering thing.
Hello, been a subscriber for 3+ years. Thank you and love your videos. Current thinking is that an eCVT may be better than a standard CVT. In your estimation, would that be enough to choose one vehicle over another? Well, an eCVT is typically used in hybrids and plug-in hybrids because it's an electronic continual variable transmission. And then the gas models use a CVT. The great thing about an eCVT and what people like is that it doesn't use a belt or chain. And that system is more robust than a CVT. So if that is a big concern to you, then you may want to consider a hybrid. Plus, I believe hybrids will have better resale value.
So it has what's called a planetary gear set, and it's more direct drive than you do with a regular belt-driven CVT, as Andrea mentioned. So yes, you're leaning on the torque of the electric motor or motors, depending on which one, to make up for that sort of rubber band feel. So yeah, if you can afford a hybrid, they have, it's interesting, Andrea. A friend of mine I used to work with at the television station years ago, unfortunately had her car written off.
Yeah.
And now she's looking for a used, like just a basic car, like $20,000. And I suggested a RAV4 as like a bit of a no-brainer because it's reliable, right? And it's going to be a used car and all that kind of stuff. And then I went online, I went on Facebook Marketplace, and I saw the difference between the gas RAV4 and the hybrid RAV4. Wow. The price difference is enormous. The hybrid is worth a lot more money.
The hybrid is a lot quieter than the RAV4 gas model as well. So I think that people are they're more interested in hybrids. And I think that if you can afford to spend that little extra on the hybrid, that's what I would buy. Times are changing now, and hybrids have become so popular amongst all electrified vehicles. I traded in my Lincoln Aviator for a 2025 Suburban High Country and then learned about the massive recall on the 6.2 liter motors. Mine's a 2025. Do you think I have anything to worry about? I just want to add to that now. Yeah, first off, almost 600,000 vehicles with the 6.2 liter have been recalled. And it doesn't mean that all of them will need their engines replaced, of course, but they need to be checked. And whether the engine is replaced or not, from what I see online, GM is going to extend the warranty on vehicles that do not get the new engine and vehicles that do get the new engine.
So to that point, because you've got a 2025 and this was a known issue, they've claimed that it was not 2025s, it was earlier ones. But here's the thing is, you've got a great product. I mean, it really is a great vehicle to drive. Excuse me. And the engine is a rock star. Like, I mean, it just is like their high performance engine. It delivers tons of power. So what I would suggest is you enjoy it and know that they know there's an issue. And I would suspect if anything were to happen, that would all be folded into warranty work.
Yeah, and from what I see, the warranty's been extended to 10 years, 150,000 miles, whichever one comes first. So they need to take care of it. They need to offer something like this, but for sure there's a concern. But I agree with Zach. We went to Newfoundland with the Silverado. It had that beautiful powertrain, and we thoroughly enjoyed it. So much power.
I still, honestly, for those trucks, I like the diesel.
Yeah.
The inline six, it's got great torque. It's so quiet, you don't even know it's got a diesel, to be honest with you, for the most part. Like most of the time, you don't even notice. And the fuel economy's killer, and that's not got that engine. Now, it has its own issues. All engines do.
Yeah.
But this is a big one for GM. So I would just enjoy your truck. It's a great truck.
I have one question regarding the computer and the touchscreen. Let's say you saw a model but different year and it got much better than your own vehicle. Yeah, that can happen. Is it possible they can update your older vehicle's touchscreen? It depends on the system. Sometimes they can do a software update, but more times than not, no.
I think what they're asking is, can you get the bigger screen installed? And typically, no, because the processor is different. So it's kind of like, that's the issue when you buy a car, you're kind of, and that's one of the issues people have with a legacy brands versus like a brand like Tesla, where it's all screen and they can update it virtually or remotely. And you're kind of in that space. So the screen, you're probably not going to be able to change. People are able to add things like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as an afterthought into some of these head units. But typically, whatever's physically in there is kind of what's physically in there, unless you take the whole thing out and put a whole new one in.
And imagine if you have a 2025 CRV and you've gone for a lower trim on that model and you got the smaller screen with wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And for 2026, Honda has upgraded that all trims get the 9-inch touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. That would be disappointing, wouldn't it? And there's nothing that you can do about it, except you could get a dongle, and then you can plug all that in, and then you can have wireless, but you can't change the size of the screen.
Maybe you might be able to in like same to same, like you're saying, like a CRV to a CRV, because the rest of the vehicle is pretty much the same. Not sure if the processor is different, and if it is plug and play, that's something you could probably find on a CRV forum. But you know, going from a different generation car to a different generation car, one generation to another, I think that is not going to happen.
No, and I actually know, we both know this viewer. He watches all of our videos, and he purchased a Tucson and a hybrid, which is a great vehicle, but then it got the full update, that interior. So I don't know if you're asking about that with with the Tucson, but no, you're not going to be able to change that. Hi guys,
wait. They'll sell you a new car.
Yeah.
They'll gladly do that.
But you know, this person, if I'm not mistaken, I think you had your old Tucson for like 15 years or something. It went a long time. Yeah, really great.
Is that Goldie?
Yeah.
Oh, hi Goldie.
Hi Goldie. Hi guys. Love your channel. Will the new Corolla Cross 2026 be quieter than the current version?
I highly suspect not. Because look at the RAV4.
I don't need to laugh.
I know, but
It is a little bit loud,
It's a bit comical how they you know, Toyota is king in terms of sales of passenger vehicles. Not trucks, like the Ford and GM and all those, they still sell them with trucks. But for passenger vehicles, Toyota's king. And the thing is, their best-selling passenger vehicle is the RAV4. And ever since the current model, the one that's available for sale today, came out, people have been complaining about how noisy it is. What's that, Andrea? I can't hear you because it's too noisy. And then we made jokes about this when we drove it, and they did nothing.
And we talked to them at drive events about, are you going to change the RAV4 and make it quieter? They didn't really say anything. They just kept it going. And guess what? People bought it, or they bought the hybrid, or they bought the plug-in hybrid. So one of the biggest things about the 2026 RAV4 that people want to know, is it going to be quieter? Well, we don't know until we drive it. But the Corolla Cross has the same powertrain. There's no change there. And frankly, I don't believe with the Corolla Cross gas model that they're going to add more insulation to improve on that.
It's going to be a mid-cycle refresh, and they're not going to change that.
No.
That guaranteed.
Hello from Vancouver. Thank you. Love that you are including more content on EVs. Any plans to review the Nissan Leaf, and any insights on how tariffs might or may not impact its rollout in Canada?
Is the Leaf going to be made in Japan?
I'm not sure where the Leaf is going to be made. We've heard there may be a drive event for the Leaf.
In the fall.
Hope to be on it.
Well, they're waiting for the fall leaves. So you can get a maple leaf.
I'd like to drive it. It looks good. Looks good. What an improvement. Here's the tricky thing about tariffs. It's not only about where the vehicle is made. It's also about the parts. I was speaking with Honda and the PR team when we were recently at the fireworks in Vancouver, and they have actually had to take each model and figure out exactly where the parts have come from, because that can also reduce the cost of these tariffs on parts. So he said it's an overwhelming process to go through all this, and Ford and GM have also been doing this.
Well, everybody's got to do it. I mean, if a car's going across the border, is it CUSMA compliant or USMCA compliant? Yeah, so we're going to get our hands on the Leaf in the fall. Can't wait. It looks way better. I mean, I just can't believe that Nissan used to have the best-selling EV in the world, which was the Leaf, way before everybody else. But Carlos Ghosn had these massive projections for what it was going to do in terms of volume, and they never even came close to that. And then they just let it sit and rot on the vine. Other companies invested, but they could have just done like modest updates and changes to it over the years, and they would have still been able to keep
more
the momentum
range
going. Yeah, and make it into a compact SUV and all that kind of stuff. And now they're kind of playing catch up on that. But it's just a massive, massive capital outlay to make these cars.
Nissan is producing some nice EVs, actually. The Aria, the feedback I get from viewers who own one, they absolutely love it. They like the range. They like the interior. It feels more luxury than non-luxury. So they're big fans of the EVs they're producing.
There was a study about the Aria was the highest, not satisfaction. Highest satisfaction was the i4 from BMW for EVs, but the highest quality was the Aria.
They're really happy with it. Here in the U.S., the 7,500 EV tax rebate is ending in September. What are your top picks for two-row premium SUV EVs on the market right now? I was waiting for a Rivian R2, but maybe I should buy sooner.
Well, the R2's, I think, still not till 2027, which is too bad because it's cute as a button.
Do you know what?
A Model Y.
Model Y, yeah. The prices in the U.S. for the Model Y are very good. But I actually think that GM is making some great electric vehicles, whether you go with a Chevrolet Equinox or a Blazer, or you go with a Cadillac. Like, some of the Cadillacs look so good and they handle incredibly well.
The only reason I say Tesla is Tesla's numbers are way down. I don't know if you saw their second quarter results, and you know, this is what Americans don't realize, that if you live in the United States, how pissed off the rest of the world is at Donald Trump and the administration, and they're voting with their wallet. And you go to places like Europe, and they think the same way Canadians do. It's like, what the hell did we do wrong? And so they're voting with their wallet, and they're just not buying Teslas in numbers. In a lot of European countries and in Canada, and Tesla's gone from #1 in sales to #8. And who's filling the vacuum? General Motors.
And you might
be in this market. In other markets, the Chinese.
And you know, I see a lot of Volkswagen ID4s on the road as well. You might be surprised about the Vancouver market and Teslas. They are a dime a dozen here. I can't believe how many Teslas on the road that there are. Now, there aren't a ton of new Model 3s and Model Ys, but they're out there. So people do continue to buy them, but there's a lot of Teslas that people bought prior to any of this happening.
Well,
it's just amazing that you can stand on the corner to cross a road and how many Teslas come by. It's shocking.
Okay, so all of the political nonsense in the last 6 months started. So Tesla's up here in the European market, right? And Volkswagen, if you follow the car industry, was struggling with their EV sales. They closed the e-tron factory. A Volkswagen group was having a real trouble. And then all of a sudden, Elon goes in to Doge, and then the sales of Tesla start to do this. Who was the big beneficiary? Well, obviously there's lots of inexpensive Chinese EVs coming into Europe, but the Volkswagens have started to sell in Europe again, and it's directly correlated. One goes up, one goes down, and they're getting a bump for people who are buying EVs in North America, but the real bump is going to GM.
What drives massive industry changes, such as moving away from a V6 and replacing it with 4-cylinder hybrids? It seems every car company did this at the same time. My guess is that since sedans are dying, they're just repurposing those engines and throwing them into their SUVs to save costs. P.S. You guys do phenomenal work. Thank you. No, only one word for that. Emissions. Well, actually two.
Or legislation.
Emissions regulations.
Yeah, so you could just say legislation. Whatever the legislation is around emissions or fuel economy. I mean, we even joke in our videos, we say all these car companies are slaves to fuel economy standards and emission standards. And that's why they're making the changes. That's why. It's like the #1 thing. Like, people even complain, why do all cars look the same? Well, it's because of crash worthiness and standards around safety. So they all end up looking similar because they have to be built a certain way. And then they all follow the leader when it comes to what's working.
And some will say, oh, well, how come all these manufacturers are coming out with infotainment systems where everything's done in the screen? Because when they are building a new vehicle from the ground up, they have to also look at the future. What is everybody doing? And then everybody thinks, I guess, that's a pretty good idea to do infotainment and everything is done in the screen, until consumers say, I don't like that.
Well, one thing about manufacturing, the people have this myth that, oh, they've got all of these, they scrap the Ford Fusion or whatever the car is, and they've got all these leftover 4 cylinders that they need to put in. That's not the way it works.
No.
It's like, there are no stockpiles of stuff for car companies. It's called just-in-time production. So they make the engine in an assembly where they put the engines together, and that gets shipped to the factory and put in the car that's going down, say like a Ford Escape, just in time. They call it just-in-time production. So it gets delivered from one factory to the next factory and put in and the reason they do this is because they don't have to warehouse all of these parts. So there's not like a big stockpile of old engines that they're working their way through. No, they make them just in time for the new car to be made.
Yeah.
Just-in-time production.
I bought a 2025 Maverick.
Nice.
Lariat hybrid, and I love it, as I know your whole family loves it too. Yes, but there are a few things that I wish the Lariat came with to make it more worthy of the $42,000 US I paid. What changes would you like to see for the upcoming Gen 2 in terms of interior amenities and exterior features, in-bed trunk, improved materials?
Well, what were their suggestions? I'd be curious
Well,
to know.
they didn't have any suggestions, but I think the biggest concern with that model, and Zach and I talked about it in our review, is that if you add more stuff to it, it's going to cost more. And our concern is that that top trim keeps climbing, and that's a worry. Could it add more features? Of course it could add more features, but...
Yeah, but Andrea, the range, have you seen the price of the Ranger?
I know.
It's like everything's creeping up in price. This is one of the biggest problems that the auto industry has, period, is price creep. Because people want more stuff in their cars, they want more safety features, the prices continue to creep up, the size of vehicles often gets bigger, so the Maverick is creeping up in price, the Ranger's creeping up in price. These F-150s with the nice trims, they're over $100,000. It's just insane, and the real problem is the auto industry is going to have a really hard time getting new buyers into the industry when everything is $50,000. It's just not feasible. So I think what I would like to see is like a good, better, best trim policy for a lot of these car companies. Like it's good, it's fine, it's got the basics. Better, it's enough stuff that I can live with it and have a few features. And best, without having all of these packages. Like in the, what was it? There was $1,200 for the sunroof, and it was an extra for this and an extra for that. Just bundle it all in there.
I think that Toyota does a really good job. I'll use the RAV4 as an example with that, where they have so many trims.
Mitsubishi too.
And Mitsubishi too. And then you add packages, or like, you know, the XLE premium package. If you want those extras, you can add it, but then you still have that more affordable base model. And I really think that that's what Ford needs to do with the Maverick. It's okay to offer the extra features, but let the consumer decide if they actually want to pay that much. I don't mind the fact that there's a lot of hard plastic in the Maverick, if they keep the price down.
Yeah, but Andrea, the buyers don't choose that. The dealers order these cars with these packages.
It's true.
So it's like, yeah, in theory, I want the XLE without the extra XLE premium package. Well, try and find one, because the dealers brought them in with everything in it because they want more profit. So unless you're going to do a special order and order exactly the way you want, the dealers often will just pile on. That's an issue.
It's interesting. I was going for a walk and I ran into our neighbor Jay, and
what's Jay saying?
Jay really, he's just got it in his mind. He really wants a full-size pickup truck, and of course his wife Jen says, "What do you need that for? We live in the city." But he loves it. He loves the space, and I hear this often with people with pickup trucks. And when you look at something like the Ranger, and then you look at an F-150, there's actually a lot of value with the F-150. But here's something interesting. He spec'd it out, and he was like, "Oh my God, everything that I want is over $100,000. And he says, I have a greater appreciation when I see an F-150 top trim, and I think to myself, whoa, this is well over $100,000.
Yeah, they're now luxury products. I mean, but a lot of people are running through their business too. All right, so I think we've answered a lot of questions.
We did. We got through quite a bit.
And the subscribing thing is really helpful if you could do that.
Yes,
subscribe.
We like that.
And what else? How do you get a question in?
Well, follow along on Instagram at motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday I put a post out asking for questions. Once we gather them, the post is deleted, and then we pick our questions and we start the show.
Talk to you later.
Bye.